Good morning, fellow NAN peers. This is Guerry Grune. I'm going to present today on the company Third Rock Essentials and the science that goes along with it. I wish I could be with you there directly, but unfortunately, we all have to do this virtual thing again. Hopefully, next year it'll be in real life. So, I'm going to try to share my screen with you right now and start into the presentation. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I think it starts on Friday, April 9th, and I am the first person available for the first hour of the conference. So look forward to meeting you all virtually there again after you've listened to the presentation. So the title of the presentation is Third Rock Essentials, providing food grade edible personal care products for HealCON 2021. My email address, as you see below, is ggrune at thirdrocksunblock.com. This was a sunblock company, sunscreen company before we did anything else. And there's our contact information. Feel free to call us directly as well. So, food grade edible personal care products. What does that mean? Well, we say very simply, if you wouldn't put it in your mouth, why on earth would you put it on your skin? There are many issues with today's personal care products and supplements, including toxins, endocrine disruptors, UV absorbents for preventing skin cancer. That's our sunscreen products. And we always refer back to the fact that your skin is your largest organ. I know you all know that. But if you protect your skin and your skin is healthy, then presumably everything else will be healthy. So our products are food grade edible alternatives for Vaseline, food grade edible alternatives to Neosporin. We make sunscreen, food grade edible ingredients only, and some silver products, which we'll talk about. We started back in 2007 with an understanding that many current skin products on the market contain harmful ingredients that consumers should avoid. And these include synthetic chemical components, ineffective and unproven UVA protection, and everything in between. So, developing some needed solutions, we address true worldwide needs of the consumers, which means to us effective cell protection using only food grade additives to reduce the risks of skin cancer, urinary tract infections, other skin conditions. We even make supplements for food poisoning issues, and that'll be the topic of today's presentation. Our sunscreen is water resistant, reef safe, and biodegradable, and so are all the other products we make. And of course, we want to deter early skin aging. So it turns out that, the public perception over the last 20 years has been that, these personal care products are something that are needed. This woman's, looking at things that probably most of you are looking at every day: shampoo, eyeshadow, lipstick, perfume, nail varnish, tanning lotion, foundation for makeup, body lotion, deodorants, hairspray. These are all going to have as much as 475 total chemicals that you're applying to your skin a day. Now, the question is, are all those toxic? And the answer is probably not, but many of them may be. And so, by continuously exposing yourself to this, it's harmful, potentially harmful. In addition, we talk about endocrine disruptors, female mimicking hormones, in most cases, things like estrogenic compounds, including bisphenol A, which is in polycarbonate, including plasticizers, which are in most plastics. And unfortunately, a lot of that winds up in the personal care products as well as into supplements and dietary supplements as well. And this gentleman represents, big industry and says, we don't think that low doses are toxic. And of course, the journalist is saying, well, we're not so sure about that. So there are tougher standards today. EcoCert, Whole Foods Market, the Environmental Working Group, which started back in the early 2000s in addressing some of these toxic chemicals, drinking water pollutants and stuff. And certainly they've heightened the awareness for the normal consumer. Whole Body at Whole Foods did the same, and EcoCert is a third-party auditor to determine whether things are "quote unquote" all natural, whether they're safe for the consumer, etc. So We looked at today's low-cost consumer lifestyles of health and sustainability, and it turns out that, as you would imagine, when the question was posed when deciding to purchase a product, how important are non-toxic ingredients, everyone answered important and extremely important. And of course, I think that's this survey was done several years ago. I think that's even more important today than ever. So our products provide a competitive analysis, and the analysis that we provide is shown here. We have a product called Neutrolium. That's our name, product name, and it's an alternative to petroleum jelly, something you know as Vaseline. There are other non-petroleum based gels on the market like Unpetroleum, which is castor oil based, Waxoline, which is soy oil based, and so um, and none of them are eco-certed, uh, but ours is, and ours is food grade edible ingredients only. So we also make a product called Nutrisporin as opposed to Neosporin. Our product is food grade edible as opposed to Neosporin, which has three antibiotics. It's a antibiotic cream. Um, you know it as you probably are using it for a whole bunch of purposes. Our product has three ingredients, none petroleum based. Our gel is just glycerin and ceteroglucoside, a plant fat, um, and we don't use any oils. And we use chelated silver oxide as our antifungal, antibacterial uh, active ingredient. Neosporin uses the three um, antibiotic type products, and they are not going to wipe out MRSA. They're not going to touch certain bacteria and allows MRSA, which is staph, to proliferate. Our product, the chelated silver oxide, wipes out all infectious bacteria, including MRSA, and does not allow MRSA or staph to proliferate. So if we say, why on earth would you put it on your skin if you wouldn't put it in your mouth? And again, the product Nutrisporin, which we launched a few years ago, is now being used by people who want healthy natural alternatives to the products that are out there. These next few slides describe the fact that we're eliminating MRSA, as I mentioned, which is staph, and E. coli. This is just two strains of bacteria that we know we're very effective against. We've had testing done against other strains, positive and negative, against mold, mildew, and fungus. And basically, the chelated silver oxide wipes out all of this. So these are our test results. The kill test is done, and you'll see in a petri dish. Um, this gives this, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So this shows you what it looks like when one side of the petri dish is effective is treated effectively with the chelated silver oxide, and the other side is growing bacteria, pretty visible. In addition to that, we've also were contacted by a woman who runs two nursing care facilities in Bremerton, Washington, and she has residents there that are incontinent, urinary tract incontinent. Urinary incontinence is common in residential care facilities, and it was wiping out her UTI and preventing it from coming back. So this is the results of a study, a total of 212, study of 12 UTIs during the 2016 year, and we reduced that to three total for the year of 2017. And so now you can see that chart that shows our reduction. We exceeded the goal of reducing UTIs in their facility by 50%. We reduced it by over 75%. There was one of the women in the facility on hospice. She lasted for another 9 months. She was having UTI every week. And once they started administering it directly to the urethra 3 times a day, she had no more UTIs. So pretty incredible stuff. In addition to that, we make some other products. So one of the products is known as Itch Block. We say it's calamine lotion on steroids, basically to be used instead of calamine lotion for everything from bee stings to insect bites to poison ivy. And I would tell you that Itch Block is a very potent, relatively alkaline pH product that wipes out, that initially gives you, immediately gives you relief because it neutralizes the pH of the skin. Your skin becomes very acidic normally when you get a blemish or something on your skin. And by putting this on, you'll get immediate relief. In addition, we make something called Third Rock Odor Block. This is both breath spray as well as deodorant spray, not antiperspirant, but deodorant spray. So we don't want anybody to not perspire because we know that's healthy, but we want to use a deodorant because bacteria, when it dies, causes odor. And that's why we call it odor block. So the chelated silver oxide that's in here, we chelate with citric acid. It's the same thing we use for the Nutrisporin, it just in a liquid form. And it wipes out all infectious bacteria and stops. And of course, if you don't have any bacteria to die, it won't cause any odor. And so it says eliminates bacteria, reduces odor, and of course, the deodorant spray is alcohol free and aluminum free and PABA free and all that. These are relatively new products for us now. This is the Silver Excelsior, comes in a 4,000 part per million 1 ounce bottle. And that is the basis for all the silver chelated products, silver chelate products, chelated again with citric acid, which is part of the Krebs cycle, which gives energy to the cells. We also sell it in a 16-ounce bottle, diluted down to 150 parts per million, and in a spray, which we will show next. And then we say, look, the chelated silver oxide and vegetable derived USP grade kosher glycerin. So that's the only other ingredient in there. It's basically water, of course, distilled water, glycerin, chelated silver oxide using citric acid. So it's an excellent choice for ingestion. Sorry. If exposed to food poisoning, Lyme carrying insects, allergic responses, this chelated silver oxide will wipe out infectious bacteria and keep your immune system responding favorably. Since the COVID has happened to us all, we're all having to wear masks where we go out in public. It's a great product to spray out directly on your mask, wipe out all infectious bacteria. The bacteria that grows in your mask is certainly not helping your health. And it's very often that you go out in public, you can't wash your mask or get a new mask every time you go into a store or a new place in public. So we figured the spray would be something people would use directly on spray on their mask and prevent bacteria from accumulating there. And it turns out that during COVID, a lot of folks have been talking about, what other things might wipe out COVID or keep you from getting COVID. And all I can tell you is we would never say that this is going to kill COVID or eliminate COVID, but you can read these papers for yourselves. Two specific documents, which I'm happy to supply to anybody who is reading this and wants more. One from Israel and the other from Japan. I've given the references right here, and I will quote what happens, what was quoted from the Israeli paper, because I think it's important for you to hear this. It says, though marred by the charlatan claims of unprofessional alternative medicine commercial products, there is well-established scientific research on the antibacterial and antiviral properties of silver nanoparticles and NPC nanoparticles. Yet its potential application for the treatment of respiratory infections has never been properly explored to the best of our knowledge. The surveyed literature indicates the silver nanoparticle of diameter 3 to 7 nanometers can be highly effective in suppressing viral infections. So that's one piece of information and evidence in this paper. We further conclude that the effective concentration of these colloids, and they're talking about colloidal silver rather than our chelated silver oxide in this case, but we can talk more about that offline, is about 10 micrograms per milliliter. That's 10 parts per million. So you probably know Sovereign Silver and some of the other colloidal silver products. So they're saying those might be effective at 10 parts per million, but the problem is what's the diameter of the particle? And in particular, a treatment of lung infections via inhalation delivery, in other words, like a nebulizer, a minimum initial concentration would require silver nanoparticle treatment deposition of 11 micrograms. That's 11 parts per million. And that means you'd have to inhale about 33 micrograms or 33 parts per million of the silver aerosol. So our silver spray, for example, or you could nebulize with our silver products. And that corresponds to a daily deposition of 33 um, parts per million, 33 milligrams, micrograms, excuse me, and aerosol inhalation of 100 micrograms. So in other words, basically they're saying try to get 100 parts per million into your lungs and the lung tissue on a daily basis to avoid any respiratory complications. So the Japanese article, that was quoted directly from the Israeli article. The Japanese article says various ingestible and inhalation formulations of silver are being marketed as a cure for COVID-19, which are available to purchase over the counter. Well, maybe in some countries like Japan, maybe not in the United States. The AMA, NIH, CDC crowd does not like silver. The cytotoxic potential of these formulations should be considered. Also, silver is a very broad spectrum microbiocide, it should say. Illicit use of silver might create an imbalance. That's true, but I don't think you could overdose silver unless you really intentionally tried to do that. It says silver nanoparticles can be used on a variety of inanimate surfaces to combat the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Silver coated masks they talk about polycotton fabrics. And then it says at the very end that silver coated masks have been found to be effective in inhibiting SARS-CoV-2, which is COVID-19, and could potentially be applied or effective when applied on the air filters of air conditioners and medical devices. So certainly, I'm not going to tell you that our silver product wipes out COVID. I'm just going to tell you that there's a lot of indications that silver oxide has a strong effect against COVID. And of course, those are publications not written or dispersed in the United States. You have to go online and look for this kind of thing. And I'm happy to share more articles with you about the effectiveness or the efficacy of silver and even also zinc oxide against COVID-19 and SARS coronaviruses in general. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, we start out as a sunscreen company. Third Rock Sunblock Sunscreen is what we now call it. FDA requires you to call it a sunscreen. You can't call it sunblock anymore. Our company's still called Third Rock Sunblock. We all of our products are marketed under Third Rock Essentials, and this is a summary slide showing basically what we have. That green line is showing how we are much more effective than anybody else on the market. Our product is glycerin based, not oil and water, like every other sunscreen. And that green line shows our UVA protection and UVB protection. The blue and red lines are also mineral sunscreens, but they're not made the way we make it, and they don't have a pH balance like we do. Why is that important? Because that green line shows we're absorbing entirely across the UVA range. UVA are the long penetrating rays that causing aging, wrinkling, DNA damage, and eventually skin cancer. UVB is SPF only. What does that mean? Sun protection factor. If you're Caucasian in the United States, you get 15 minutes of exposure, maybe 20 minutes of exposure before you start to turn pink in the presence of the sun. That's done by UVB. That 20 minutes with an SPF factor of 30, that's what 30 stands for, sun protection factor. 30 times 20 is 600 minutes of protection. That's 10 hours of protection from turning pink in the sun or turning red or getting sunburned. It has nothing to do with UVA. So UVB actually and SPFs that are higher, like 30 or above, give you a little bit of a false sense of protection in the presence of the sun because you may not burn, but you're going to get overexposed to UVA, which is the long penetrating rays that cause big damage. I started the company because two 20-year-old kids at different times who I surfed with both got melanoma at different times, and they were told not to surf anymore because their dermatologists thought they would get skin cancer again. So there's obviously something wrong with sunscreens. We happen to believe that our sunscreen is probably the best protectorant out there, and we've been proactive in making a non-endocrine disrupting, cytoprotective, immuno-enhancing sunscreen. Here's a little bit more information about the zinc oxide compound that we make that we put into the sunscreen. We don't buy zinc off the shelf. We make our own complex. And as you can see, we boost the SPF tremendously from an already purchased product an SPF 30, a CVS product, we boosted it all the way to 47.1, and our water resistivity increased by almost a factor of over a factor of 3. Um, we started with Ganex, which is a toxic substance, and just used our 5% of our zinc oxide. And what we found was a doubling of the water resistance over 5% of Ganex, which has been the industry standard in creating water resistivity. In addition, we published in the Journal of Toxicology. We've shown that our estrogenic potential is 0 compared to all the other sunscreens that are out there. This work was published back in 2005. So we've been making non-endocrine disrupting sunscreen for over 15 years. Yeah, and I always say, well, where are these sunscreens being applied? Well, directly to your skin, of course. And then the question is, where on your skin? And some of these areas are very, very sensitive, as this cartoon shows. And the question is, what is the toxicity over time going to do to these exposed areas that aren't normally either exposed to the sun or exposed to sunscreen? So the reality of today's products is there is a need for healthful sunscreens. That has changed over the period of time I've created ours. There are other mineral sunscreens out there that are good. None of them are the ones we make. We make the ones that really work because they're glycerin based. They don't evaporate. Every other sunscreen out there is 70% water based. Ours is over 70% glycerin based. What that means is as soon as you take it out of the bottle and you put it on your skin, it's going to evaporate. Not so with ours. And of course, we say again, it's all food grade and gradable ingredients. So anything you're putting on your skin that comes from Third Rock is going to be something you would have no problems ingesting. We're worried about synthetic chemical components, endocrine disrupting ingredients, which are mimicking estrogenics, immune system suppression agents, agents that could lead to reproductive problems. So there's a picture of how safe it is. It can even be applied to flipper, right? We also patent everything and trademark everything because that's what I do for a living. This was a hobby that became a business, and our patent portfolio and our intellectual property portfolio is extensive. Compare that with any of the other smaller companies, or even nowadays the larger companies that aren't innovating anymore because they've gotten rid of all their scientists and engineers that do all this work and replaced them with marketing and sales folks. The affiliate program is something we started basically seemed like last year, but it was actually 2 years ago because COVID's made everything go by fast. Our affiliate program is pretty amazing. We offer essentially 40% off the MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price, 20% commission for all the affiliates that join, and 20% off for your friends and family. So if somebody in your family is buying this, they're going to get 20% off of our retail price on our website, and you're going to get a 20% commission. There's no obligation. There's no payment required. All you do is sign up at thirdrockstar.com. That's all you have to do is sign up as an affiliate. And we also have a wholesale program. So if you have stores or doctor's offices or other locations where you think our product would sell, we have a 50% discount over MSRP for selling wholesale so that everybody can make money besides us selling it directly to Amazon, which takes a large chunk of our gross. So this affiliate program has been successful. We would love to have more people that are involved from NANP because you all have folks that you're taking care of and that you want to make sure are taken care of going forward. And our affiliate program is the way to go. So again, it's thirdrockstar.com. Contact them. Go online. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to sign up. And we'd love to have you involved with what we're doing. So I like to finish slides off with something from Dr. Seuss, although he's been under a lot of scrutiny lately, apparently. Why do we do this? Because unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's just not. So we look forward to talking with you directly this morning, if it's the morning of the show, of the conference. And please reach out at any time. You've got my name, my address. You've got our contact information. I'll put that back up on the screen while I'm ending the talk. And I look forward to any questions or concerns or information you want to have me embellish. And in the meantime, have a great conference. Enjoy the weekend, and hopefully we'll be in contact directly the first morning of the conference. So there's my information and address and all that. There's our website address, thirdrockessentials.com, and the affiliates program, thirdrockstar.com. And I want to thank everybody at NAAMP, especially Monica and Nesbitt and her staff, for putting this all together virtually. And next year, looking forward to meeting everybody in person. Thanks. And I'm going to try to sign this off and end it now.